Come on down. You gonna sit there, or you wanna sit over here? Whatever you wanna do. No, you're good there.
No, they didn't program no longer.
I didn't think.
At least not since
Okay, we're reconvening the meeting. We had a closed meeting. We're open again. Took about 10 minutes. Thank you all for your patience. First on the agenda, we're going to have the preliminary budget information with the Elkton Police Department. Our chief, let's have a discussion.
Okay.
I see that you presented to all of us a packet, and thank you for laying it out the way that you did. And do you want to highlight the items, or do you want me to go through it?
I'll just real quick point a couple of things out. I know you had asked for us to take a look and try and peel some stuff back, and you can see on the first page there under Department 210, I did do that, albeit only $6,500. I would add that I believe we've done a really good job, probably over the past 10 years, and specifically the 6 years that I've been the chief, of trying to hold those lines pretty consistent year by year. We've had some years where we've increased, but I think those increases have always been minimal. And unlike some of my predecessors, I don't pad and ask for more and hope that I get what I get. I just tell you exactly what I think I need. And, you've always been very good over the past 6 years. So $500 in reductions there. There is one that goes up, and that goes up every year, and that's under our contracted services in Department 220, and that's our contract with Department of Emergency Services, which is a 3% increase, $5,222.10. And if you check that out, all the way in the back there, number 31, you can see what our annual payment is this year. We're in the coming budget year. $179,292.10 is what we'll pay out in the coming budget. Total operating and capital expenses for this budget proposal is $711,339.02. It's a difference of the previous year's budget of $188,997.58. One of the biggest things that we did put in this year is request for cars, which we have previously talked about, and we knew as good as the town has been with keeping up the taking a car program, that we would have a year where we would take off and go without cars, and we'll still be able to have everybody driving around, and we'll be okay. We'll be okay skipping here. I know also that we talked that capital items would be very limited this year, so I didn't, as I just said, I did not put in cars. But I did put in some items, and I'm certainly willing, after you all review and you start crunching numbers, that if I got to back a few more of those out, I have some things that I could back out. I mean, I could back it all out if I absolutely have to. But
Well, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm sorry.
Looking at your capital requests, you had put in for the automated defibrillators, which I think are life-saving devices. We don't want to ever, anything that you're telling me life safety, we want to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
The technology needs, which is the largest part of that, which is $77,000, and I saw the quotation in here. Is this mostly upgrades, or is there, help me understand that a little bit.
Some of it's just maintenance, upgrades, that Mike Devine, our IT person, has put into the budget for us.
Very good. I think what we'll do, I think there's going to be a couple upgrades through. Maybe we'll get at the next workshop or the next meeting, we'll get Mike Devine in here to explain these upgrades.
Okay, yeah.
But other than that, it looks like the audio video, I think that's important to have. That's going to help us down the road. You were mentioning about the slick ticket mounts. We need that for the citation program.
Yes, yes.
And I know that our intercom system over there has been probably challenging.
It has been. And I think at some point, and I know that probably won't happen this year, but at some point we probably really need to take a serious look at the telephone system, and maybe on both sides of the building. I can only speak to our side. I know it's definitely an upcoming need.
So from my perspective, I like everything. I would like to talk to Mike Devine about the upgrades. How's the rest of the board feeling?
I would do That's a huge part of the,
Yeah, that's a lot of capital.
for one department.
But that looks great, Chief.
Okay.
And I think you didn't put in for any additional employees.
No.
And I guess,
But next year we probably will.
well, and I want to stress my position on that, so that you know going forward. We never want to turn down a good person if they're out there available to come to work for the Elkton Police Department.
Sure.
So always keep that in mind, that if somewhere along the line during the course of the fiscal year, even though we may be at full staff today, but if there's a good opportunity for us to improve our team, then we improve our team, just like they do in Major League Baseball and the NFL. You know, we're going to improve our team. And if you're looking at next year and there's opportunities to get people in the academy maybe now for new hires.
Sure.
Let's not lose everything we're gaining.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah, and I think one of the things that we need to look at down the road is we have presently 4 in drop right now.
Yeah.
Is that
I
right?
think you're
You're gonna have
another
4. And then we're gonna have another 4 coming up. So I have 8 people going and less, so our hiring, I think, needs to kind of change from the traditional, wait until we have a need and then, kind of chase it down the road. We should probably become more proactive and just almost continue to hire. And obviously, you got to set some type of a threshold, but we know these folks that are in the Fair Retirement Option program, we know they're going. Some of them are now less than 5 years.
Can you send us those dates? Maybe send to the board the actual employee with the date that they're leaving.
Sure.
2023.
2023.
2023, aren't they? Larry and,
Yeah, October 31st.
Dan.
Yeah, because December 1st started, October
2022
31st, so
for
it's
now.
just, you're open-ended, but the other 3.
So 2022, we're only 3 years out, so you're 100% right. I think next year, we're going to have to maybe go a little bit above and beyond. Mr. Lemon?
Are we up to full staff now in the police department?
2.
Huh?
2 down.
2 down.
2 down, and it's as close as we've been to the 45 mark in probably 10 or 12
I
years.
say that's significant, and I like what the mayor said, keep working at that.
Sure.
I read in the paper, Baltimore City is down 200 policemen. They had more left than they can replace, and they're down at least 2, I don't know the exact number, but at least 200. That's how significant the problem is down there.
Sure.
And you don't want to head that in that direction. You want to head in the other direction that the mayor's talking about, is maybe be a couple people ahead.
Well, I think that's our game plan, and I think we're doing the right things. Well, Chief, thank you. Any questions for the chief?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, well, thank you.
All right, Mr. Dan Hanley, you're up next.
That's it, right
Shut that door a little bit. The girl had to go to a doctor appointment, and Mary Jo's not feeling up to the weather.
You got to be ready.
yeah, let's go on.
Good luck, Dan.
let me sit over there.
We're leaning to that side.
Great, thank you.
Good job.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Dan Hanley. You're in control here. You tell me however you want to go.
Okay. Well, thank you for the opportunity to present my preliminary budget, Mayor Commissioners. And I'd like to start initially by saying, you, as a group of Mayor Commissioners, have understand my needs. You've been very generous with us, and we appreciate your past, the past generosity. We presented the budget this year, the 2020, and we try to be as lean as we can at the same time. We try to minimize as much as we can at the same time. So, as it's preliminary, take a look at it, think, add to whatever, I'm fine with either way. So obviously it'll work out that way. So,
Hey, Dan, before you get started, I requested the automobiles. Do you have that for us?
yes,
Perfect.
here we go.
And I mean, right on top of it.
There we go. Yeah, put it in the binder too, how about that?
What do we got here?
What you have there is a list of all the vehicles and equipment we have at Public Works,
Any
based
vehicles.
upon the year. Vehicle, just vehicle.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Hold on, hold on.
This is a good time.
Do we have this?
This is a good
We
time.
do,
Yeah.
we have, this is,
The entire town is,
Yes.
because it's in our,
this is including the police, all town
Right.
vehicles.
admin
Yeah.
and everything.
There's everything.
Everybody.
Right. If you go back to if it starts with 2, it's administrative vehicle, it belongs to town hall. If it starts with a 3, it's DPWs. If it starts with a 4, it belongs to EPD, then the rest are my equipment. With respect to the EPD cars, the mileage that you see is the last time it was serviced, so we got some higher mileage stuff. Same thing goes back for mine. So mine's constantly updated. For EPD, it actually gets updated when they get serviced to our mechanics. They do a very good job with it. So that's everything about the mileage right there.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
Go back to where you were. I'm sorry to
That's
interrupt you.
okay, it's all good, okay. In the beginning of the budget, I just got some general numbers, because, all the different things that my department does. Talk about how much recycling we did, trash and refuge, neighborhood trash, tires and everything. We talk about those numbers up there. Staffing needs, I'm fine with staff, I got enough allocation.
It's interesting, if I'd like to add something,
Sure.
that we actually collect 507 tons
Mhm,
of yard waste
mhm.
every year, and we only recycle a little bit more than that.
Yes.
So I guess you can look at it a couple different ways. We're picking up as much yard waste as we are recycling.
Actually, that number is light, because a lot of it's sitting at Jones Chapel right now. That's why, that's why we're seeing that way.
Very interesting.
Okay. So, and again, I just want to go over some overviews of the different things about my budget now, then we'll come back to the specifics as we go through the page turn. With respect to recreational areas, we successfully had the first annual Mayor's Lucky Charm Race, which was in March of 17, which will be repeated again on the 16th this year, so there you go,
Of March.
at March.
That's personal.
We did in fact, we in-house designed the floating dock at the Marina Park, which is, saves significant money, and that opens up the whole area for the canoe kayak area. Also, we're doing some work, we keep monitoring, we keep taking care of Marina Park, Meadow Park. And another thing that the Mayor Commissioner talked about, and we're in agreement with, is the fields at Elk Landing. And we got a proposal down here where Elk Landing is. You basically have 2 areas. You've got basically it's 20 acres of site, 10 and 10. And with the mayor's idea to create a park. And to save money on that one, that's something we're going to do in-house. And I carried 2 numbers, and I believe, the one number we'll talk about when we get to the 31 itself is $100,000 just for the store the equipment. That's for us to rent the equipment, do the work in-house, and seed straw. If you were to sub that out to another subcontractor, it'd probably be in the neighborhood of $600,000, $650,000. Now, this area, I'm carrying numbers right now because we're still in the process of doing the final design and everything. When that happens, we're leaning towards doing the work ourselves, as long as we get the capability, and I think we physically got the labor to do it. As long as nothing else happens in between, then we will be looking at grading it in-house itself during the summer. So that's a project we're excited about. We're carrying some money for that, and it'll be good assets for the town. Okay?
And
Yes.
I would stress that as much as we can do ourselves,
Oh, yeah.
it would be great, and as much as I'd like to see all this happen as quickly as we can, if it has to stretch out a little bit, we do it as needed.
Okay. Ryan, you want to talk about Jones Chapel? They're tired of hearing me already.
Yeah, as far as Jones Chapel goes, one of the goals there is to better utilize that space. You know, currently, you know, we can't necessarily say it's organized in there, but with the space that we have, you know, what we want to do is clear that out. I think we have, you know, up to probably 18 acres over there, and you know, possibly clearing out 10 or so acres of it. You know, the thought is there that, you know, we may, and I guess that's something we have to talk about, may want to look into, you know, at least some of that, maybe contracting them out to have it cleared. You know, obviously the trees, you know, whatnot has to be taken out of there. And, you know, with the end goal being that, you know, we can more efficiently process our yard waste over there. It's a little bit closer, and not have to take it from the landfill. You know, the leaves and the grass will break down. The leaves, you know, within a year of topsoil, we can reuse that. So, you know, organizing that into, you know, several different bins, leaves, you know, grass, you know, wood chips, whatever, you know, whatever we may have. And again, that's all stuff that we wouldn't have to take to the landfill, and basically, you know, reuse it. So that's kind of the thought there with the.
I think I've been out to Jones Chapel a couple different times, and it's the way it's kind of laid out now. It's a little difficult to maneuver, and I think it would be an asset to the town if we could arrange that area in such a manner that we could compost on our own, separate it in areas, and if we're currently, is it no charge to take it to the, it's a charge to take it to Cecil landfill. So I think just in future charges that it will be a huge savings for us.
And it's, you know, it's whenever we're, you know, we have spikes in our daily, you know, collection of leaves. We hit, you know, certain times of the year where it's like, you know, we got to go, and we can get in and out of there a whole lot quicker. And, you know, so we can try to meet our goals as far as, you know, our routes, getting done everything every day, you know.
Now, we're not storing any tires or any,
No.
good, we're not making a landfill.
No.
No.
Okay.
Actually, with respect to tires, the DPW is actually a tire collection center. So what happens is people will give us tires, we live it up the floor, down on rims, or if we see them, you know, we gather them up, then we actually bring them to the landfill and properly dispose of. And, you know, it's regulated by NPD. They come twice a year to check the stuff, and you know, so, you know, everything comes down.
Fantastic.
In fact, last year we had over 300 tires or something like that, so it comes that way. Okay. I've got some long-term voting requests, but we'll hold that to the very end, because that's not really part of this particular budget. With infrastructure, you can see in my beginning, you know, what kind of a year we've had. We had over 1,366 utility locates. Every time you call Miss Utility, the water, the sewer, we get calls, and we put it that way. Last year we had 84 water breaks. Out of the 84 water breaks, oddly enough, I think 27 were in the month of January, the first 2 weeks. So last year was pretty bad. We got real cold snap and it warmed up. So, and the rest of the year kind of works its way through. 67 sewer backups. That's, you know, that's average for the year, or something like that. We also completed the 2-inch water main on Pennsylvania Avenue. In the process now of switching out the meters. That works out. We've cleaned and observed with our camera over 14.3 miles of sewer laterals all over the place, and that's something we do pretty well that way. And we've also installed a new sewer force main in front of the YMCA, which will actually take the waste from there. Instead of going along Route 40, it goes up to Blue Bar Avenue, dumps to a gravity manhole. So we finished that project again this year. We'll repeat the tie-in with time.
Okay, you had me on that one. So we used to force the sewer from the YMCA down to Route 40.
Correct.
So now we're sending it the other way now.
Right, exactly. 279 to Blue Bar Avenue itself. So there's only one last little piece we need to tie into, and then Route 40, we won't touch Route 40 anymore. should be
Would
very
we,
handy.
would we take the state highways?
Yes, that's the next piece, that's the last piece, correct.
Okay.
Mhm. And the reason to do that because, you know, every time the line, the forcing that was put in Route 40 many years ago, it's just after a while, it gets beat, and it started almost getting real, we misaligned, we called it, we were able to ground it up, it's a temporary fix, and now we've put a permanent solution.
The capacity of the line, can it take a lot more product?
Yes, I believe it's a 3-inch, we put a 3-inch line in it, we actually had the engineer run through the numbers, it can take any YMCA expansion, not a problem, I think it can take a lot, it's a 3-inch base, pretty big, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we did run that number for future capacity, so it works out that way. With respect to water, water real quick is the big project we're looking for this year is to run a water line underneath Route 279 around the Belfoot area to add a redundancy in the area. So we're carrying money for that. We'll touch on that briefly.
And just to let the board, last year during that
January
cold,
1st.
we actually had the water main broke right by the High store. No, it's not the Highs, well, I don't even know what it's called now, but it's
I think Carol Field was on there.
Carol Fuels where the parking ride. There's a little parking ride there by the Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Well, it broke there and we knocked out the ability for the folks in the apartments, McDonald's,
Flying J.
the Flying J, none of them had water for several hours until we got it fixed. So by doing this, I guess it would be that directional drilling and going through.
Yes, sir.
If we ever had any problem like that again, we would be able to pull the water from a different part of town, correct? Is that?
Correct. Well, what happened, exactly, if the existing line would break, then you got another source of water going through there, that's what it comes down to. Because when they put the original water line in years ago, they ran it over the 279, and then they grounded the area, they grounded in between. So if it breaks in between, you couldn't access it. But by adding a second line in there, then you can actually bypass the existing line, so that comes again. Water meter project, I'll touch on that briefly also in the beginning before we get to the back. Again, we're progressing along, we're probably about 1,000 meters into it, something like that. So we got some money to keep switching out the meters, it's going very well. I'll touch on that in another board meeting, next workshop or something down the road, I'll keep you updated on that one, but that's going very well. Capital items request, briefly, I did minimize compared to the last couple of years. We're asking for a mini excavator, and the reason we're asking for a mini excavator because we rent them a lot. That comes in good with concrete work, especially anything we have to do like really small. Where you can't get a backhoe in there, small areas, so we're looking at a mini excavator, split it up between the three funds at 33% each. We're asking for two 350 trucks just to replace the ones which are in the fleet. One of them will be earmarked directly for the sewer. The other one would just be sitting out there in the 320 fund. And a trailer just to transport our new skid steer loader. So that's all we're asking for this year. It's that much, and again, feel free to do what you have to do. Okay? Last page, talk about efficiencies, what we're doing. We're trying to do more. We're doing, as more and more responsibilities come on us, we embrace the challenge. We're doing it in-house, and we work a lot with public-private contractors, all that stuff to help them out to save them the cost and be efficient that way. And there's a lot of things that we do. We touched on briefly on the last page. So with that in mind, if you guys got any questions about the 320, the 340, or 350, if you want to go through it, we'd be glad to answer anything you have in particular. So.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the compost building?
Okay, I can touch on that. Yes. The board asked, it was one of the last workshop about long-term space needs. And the one thing that I touched upon briefly is we have a compost building at the wastewater treatment plant. This particular building is like 30,000 square feet. It's a very huge building. It's been there for years. And because it's the whole compost, it's pretty much beat up on the top. Basically, we've lost a couple panels last year because of the windstorm, and the roof, which is almost looks like a glorified what do you call it, like a
Tin shed.
tin shed. There you go.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly. Anyway, it has holes in it. So we went out. We got a structural engineer look at it. The building's in great shape, except for the very top, where the permanent need to replace. So what we did for budgetary purposes, we had a person, local contractor, look at it and see how much it would cost to put new sidings on it and a new roof, and to change the purlins. And by the time it's all said and done, I mean, overall cost, if I had to replace the whole thing, would be in the 900K range. And again, it's just something long-term which we're looking at. It would avoid justify our space requirements, because I can't do anything higher with Blue Ball, and I really can't do much on the skate park itself. That's why, as part of this budget process, I want to let you know, this is like a kind of number to deal with versus this is, you know, this is the guessing stuff. So I talked about that briefly, and talked about the needs of replacing a couple of parking lots, the one out front and the one in the, where my guys park up by the Red Cross building. And I put this under 150. I don't actually have this as part of my budget itself, but I'll distribute to everybody here so you can really see it. So, just real quick, she's just without it. So, this is a 150. I don't control the 150.
I got it.
What's that? There you go.
Well,
Yeah, parking lot. It's a parking lot. It's just a bill just in case. I didn't budget for it because it's not mine. But I just want to let you know if these needs exist. That's all. Whether we address them, it's good.
Well, good, good. Okay, Dan, very good. There was a couple questions I had. One was, I think every time I go to Maryland Municipal League, we have the guy from Dossier Systems talks to me all the time, and he brings up updates, he brings up things that we could be doing or can't be doing with the fleet management reports and so forth.
I'm sure he does.
And I know he's attempting to sell upgrades all the time, I understand that.
Right.
With the companies that I work with, they have me working on different computers. I'm on 3 different CRM systems, and I can tell you none of them work very well. There's nothing that works like Windows-based. I know that you have looked at maybe possibly doing a Windows-based system and maybe removing out of the dossier.
Right.
I just wanted to let you know my feelings. I don't have a problem with that. You know, if you get it cleared with Lou, and I think the board probably would be, that dossier is I don't think we're using it because it's so different.
Exactly.
I do the same thing with the 3 that I'm on. I'm getting yelled at by my manufacturers every day saying, why aren't you entering that information? Well, to enter in one item, it might take me 18 minutes. And if it was a window-based, it would probably take me about 2 seconds to enter that information. So maybe, Lou, you could take a look at it and see what you think.
Yeah, our long-term goal is, because we're the end user, it's not a pre-packaged program, we kind of know what we're looking for. In fact, Brian, you address this one, because this is your baby. You love the dossier.
Yeah. So, yeah, you know, we've looked at, we spoke to a programmer, you know, with the thought of, you know, building something that, you know, that would work for our needs. You know, Dossier is basically a canned system. You buy it, here it is. You know, it's meant to try to appease all, and you know, there's good and bad with those systems. You know, there's things in there that we just totally don't need. There's things in there that we do, and the way that we input data, you know, isn't necessarily always the best or most efficient way. So, you know, having something built and you know, it's probably more cost effective in the end, you know, to have something built to what we, you know, would actually be able to utilize and be able to advance a little bit too in our technology. You know, I think we pay probably $2,500 a year just to have that system.
I've seen, and I agree with you, I think the dossier was several $1,000s a year, and then there's an upgrade that he wanted us to do for
Yeah,
like
it's not-
another
There's always an upgrade.
20, 30, 40,000.
It's not really, yeah, it's not really doing us any good. You know, one of the things that we wanted to do was to be able to, you know, the mechanics that we have down there, you know, today, they're very good, they're very proactive, and we need to, you know, kind of be able to help them a little bit, because, you know, we have, you know, in peaks and valleys, now they're doing a little bit more with the police cars and upfitting them and all that, so we want to be able to help them, you know, be able to manage their time a little bit better, and that is, you know, even with changing to something that we created in-house, you know, a screen back there in the shop to where, you know, the next 10 cars that are due in the next, you know, 10 days or something, you know, we might want to bring them in a little bit early. If they have a, you know, at a glance view, they can say, well, you know what, this one, I know I can get this one done in between the other things that I'm doing, bring it in, get it done. And that's, you know, kind of the next step, the next level of, you know.
I think I like your forward thinking with that.
Yeah.
You can design your own program and
Yeah.
market it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I
Who
mean.
knows? I mean, that's how
yeah.
they're created.
It's.
Well, I know you guys got a price and it was like $4,500 for a custom program for us.
So how does this relate to Object 30?
Oh, 30? Okay. Well, 30, that's why, right now is, instead of doing the 2,500, that number would go out and be moved to the number turns out to be. That's why, at the moment, when I got the new quote, I just couldn't put it in this time. That's why it's just 50 for the 20,000, which is part of page 7, right, of 20. So, I mean, just one of the views that we have, so. I think it worked out that way, so. So,
So you're
page-
requesting
which one?
20, the budget says 30.
Last year.
Last year was 30.
This
What we
year.
did is, we save money. In fact, if you look at our line items, we did the analysis, if we don't need as much, we've actually reduced it this year. There's a couple
Every
line
year,
items that,
okay.
if we're not spending it, then we go back the other way. And when we do these particular projects, we're bidding out until June 30th of 2020. So I try to, you know, we wrap our heads around it. We look at previous years and try to do, you know, an estimated forecast as best we can. So that's why we put some money in to make sure I'd rather have it, but if we don't need it, then we reduce it back the following years. And we do monitor as we go along, so.
Okay.
Okay. If you go to page 8 on 2020,
Yes.
I'm sorry, 320, those are the things we talked about previously, the Jones Chapel for 85, and then we talked about option 1 for the fields grading. It's 100, so I need to add that to that particular number. That's why I just want to show the board, these are the options we try to figure out the best way of doing it, so. If you go to page 9, engineering, we kind of did the engineering. This is our estimate based on the road restoration projects. Anything else at Jones Chapel, which is currently in design, I think it's being reviewed by the county, and Elkton Field. So that's why, you know, I increased the engineering budget just a little bit because, again, it's the best estimate at this time. So that's on page 9. On page 10, this goes back to what I said earlier, my object number 33. That one went up because I was told for computer upgrade. I was told that Windows 10 can't do Windows 7. So that, you can talk with Mike Devine about that one.
Well, that's what we'll address with him when he
You do the
comes in.
same thing. That's why that particular number is there, okay? Keep going through, any questions?
No, I
The capital's on page 19. That's what we talked about previously. A mini excavator, cut into 3 different projects. 1 truck, if we can afford it this year, it goes right there, and then I've got a trailer just to transport our skid loader. And that's everything in 99, and that's on page 19. So that's everything in the 320, which is the general fund. Okay.
All right, any other questions for Dan? Mr. Lemon, I was getting ready to call for you. Any questions about our public works budget or comments?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
On the water meters,
Yes.
that's on page 15.
Of 340?
Yes.
Okay. Give me 40. All right, it's in the center section.
And I, as you all know, I support that big time, but
Mhm.
where do we stand time-wise as far as where we are on the project?
I believe we're about 1,000 meters into it now.
1,000 what?
About 1,000 meters, 1,000 people complete. We've got a bunch of neighborhoods complete. You got, let me see, off the top of my head. Turnquest is done, Delancey Village is done, Chapel Run's complete. We're in the process of doing Thompson Estates now. So, I mean, they're all over the place. But I'm guessing, my infrastructure guy, he's out because he has a death in the family. But I'm guessing probably September, maybe September of 2020. I'll shoot for that, to be honest with you. It's, you know, it's taken a while to get through. My guys can put the meters in. That's not an issue. My issue is just, you know, we schedule with the people and see how it goes. And what we've been doing is because, you know, we send the notices out, the residents have been talking to us, and we schedule it, and we do it accordingly. When I get to an area which I'm close to doing it, I got no response, and then I kind of kick it up to the next gear, so I try to make them, you know, do it that way to wrap up areas. But I'm in the process of now, it's just keeping up two-man crews. I got a bunch of areas I can wipe out this spring, which are just pits on the outside. They'll come up pretty quickly, so.
Well, I think, I guess to Mr. Lemon's point, this is very important to all of us.
Yeah.
And we did have a goal in mind of September 2019, and it's the first I'm kind of hearing that it might be 2020.
It might be a real, because.
But we need to get the, I mean, this needs to be a priority, and if we need to bring people in on the water side or the sewer side to help get this done, we got to get it done.
Okay.
Mr. Lemon?
The objective, I guess, is to do every building in Elkton that has a water,
Correct.
that takes in water.
That's correct.
And that'll be very positive. We'll pick up stuff that we haven't picked up before.
Mhm.
Then, do you have a projection, on, let's say we get to September 2020,
Mhm.
do you have a projection on where it's going to save? I was under the impression that we would be able to sit in the office and do dolls and figure out what people owe and everything. So is there going to be savings in the office? Is there going to be savings in the field? Where's the savings going to be? Or there's going to be savings, so.
It'll be, right, he can address the finance, Steve can address the
I can
finance.
probably address it.
Essentially, you'd be saving in meter readers. Right now, we have two, unfortunately, one is experiencing illness, but there wouldn't be the need for the feet on the ground that we currently are employing. There would always be a need to have someone on the ground to go look at, because we don't expect 100% success, and no one gets 100% success.
I
But
mean, are you looking to eliminate a position or something like
well,
that?
we'll address that when the time comes, because like I said, we have two people assigned to that now.
I would answer that. I would say that, no, we probably would never, any current employee is not in jeopardy of ever losing their
No, I'm
job.
not saying that, but people retire and they're not in
Yes,
place.
that's correct.
Or people are transferred from Department A to Department B, that kind of stuff. And so it's a possibility to save there. But the big savings is going to come from the field.
And I think that the largest savings, or the, I would say that the more efficient meters that we're using right now is going to pick up additional billings.
Yeah,
That's going to be, I think, the big dollar amount that we're gaining. And I can absolutely see that when we turn off meters, we won't have the whole Public Works Department tagging meters. I mean, those are the things that's going to save us a lot of money down the road.
yeah, I say this is really, really important because we've heard in the meetings that a lot of the meters are not working correctly or they're not reading right. Other areas, there's a shopping area out on Route 40 that didn't have meters, that kind of stuff. So it's really critical.
Mhm.
And so we'll keep that in mind, September 2020.
It might be early, like I said, I have to evaluate. There's a lot of things because I try to work with the project to see the other way around, but well, let me reevaluate that one too.
All right.
You run into problems that you can't
Oh, yeah.
anticipate. I mean, this is a big project.
Exactly, and the main thing, the good thing about this project is, you know, now that we're touching all the meters, we know what's what, you know, a lot of things, you know, we work out pretty well that way, because, you know, by touching the meters, putting the stuff in, you know, I think the residents feel better at the same time, you know, we can, not only can we pick up the information, but even before the tower comes up, you can do like radio reads, and that way, if you get something, you know, if you get a leak or something, high thing, you should be able to pick up like while you're doing the radio reads themselves nearby, so.
See, the other thing is you saved a lot of money over either Bueller or Honeywell,
Yes.
particularly Honeywell, they were really high.
Mhm.
But, so that's another positive that you can throw in the pot.
Thank you. Yeah, that is a good point. Anything else for Dan?
One thing I want to mention, if I don't mind, that Dan had recommended that the skateboard park be removed from their property down there. And Mary ran that by the Parks and Rec Committee last night, and they supported that. So we're going to disassemble that and remove it. And if we find an alternative location,
Sure.
we'll set it up. But for now, we got to get it out of there because That
Okay.
we want to, that'll be exclusively a DPW terrain down there.
Thank you.
Get that out of there.
What-
And it's
what-
getting broken up. You know, they're
I saw my
breaking
guys
it
got the skateboard. when I put this-
One of the, just if anyone's watching this on video, we were having some problems with the skateboard parks. In fact, there was multiple damage to several of the ramps. And it's, I don't think they're easy fixes when we try to fix those ramps. So the town took the position to shut down the skateboard park because of the damage that's been done to the skateboard equipment. And then the Parks and Rec Board last night has supported just closing the park down.
from there, yeah.
Very good.
As a director, I'd like to thank the mayor, commissioners, and Lewis and the Parks and Rec Board, because it's a wise thing, to be honest with you. So-
Mr. Lemon, you got another comment?
My son has a message for you.
Yes.
He lives over on Highland Avenue,
Okay,
and he's very pleased with the snow removal.
thank
He
you.
asked me to convey that to you.
The storms, honestly, as director, I'd rather have like a 1-foot storm and knock it out to see what's what, because the little ones, it takes as much effort, like sometimes more effort to take out 2 inches of snow chips forever than just a one big dump, one big.
I'll still stick with the 2 inches.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you for your time.
Skateboard park was on my agenda. I'm glad, Lou, you brought that up. You guys have anything?
I'm curious if
Thank you, guys.
the department hasn't gotten together yet to line up how much space they're gonna need in the next 5-10 years.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, you want to introduce yourself? I know.
She want to go first, or?
No, I think,
Me?
Oh, go ahead, introduce yourself, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Brian Queen's assistant down at DPW.
Her name's Brianna Hale, she does an excellent job, her and
Hi,
Brian.
Brianna.
very good. I think I know your father.
Yes, you do.
Very good.
She's very good. In fact, Brianna, she's studying, she's studying a master's now, right?
Yes.
Studying at,
Go to Beacon
Go to
College.
Beacon, yes.
Masters in
Finance.
She's, her and Brian are my backbone for the financial stuff, all the POs, all that stuff. They do a very good job. And I was very
Thank you.
thankful.
And I think you wanted to introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is Robert Tucker.
Robert?
I've got good news. I'm not here to ask for anything or complain about anything, so that's hopefully good news to you. I'm the new pastor at Five Rivers Church.
Very nice.
So, came in with my family a few months ago. And when this came across my desk, the Town of Elkton Information Guide, I read some things that you as the mayor and the town commissioners wrote. And there's some things in here that resonated with me. You wrote wanting to return a sense of pride to Elkton. Commissioner Brumel has talked about enrichment of our town. Commissioner Jablonski, revitalizing our area. Commissioner Piner, just grateful to serve. Commissioner Gibbons talking about positive working relationship. These are all things that resonated with me, coming into a situation where, and I hear this, I read this, I get a sense, hey, there were some good days in the past, we want to recapture some of those for even greater days in the future.
You hit it right on the head.
And I'm in a situation where it's a smaller micro picture of that, but wanting to do the same things. I think Five Rivers Church has some history that is really, really good. Want to recapture that for better days and greater days ahead for the church and our part in the town of Elkton as well. We're already glad to be a part of things like Generation Station, which is an after-school program. We're one of the sites in Cecil County. Any of the public schools are welcome to come. We are a host site for the emergency rotating shelter for the homeless throughout some of the winter months. We're glad to do that. So I think one of my questions is, what I'd like to find out, what are some other areas of need that we might be able to learn about in the town of Elkton to where it can be a good match, a good win-win situation where it falls in line with the mission of the church and it's also a benefit to our community. So I'm here to just introduce myself and to say, hey, we're looking for ways to serve the community that we live and worship in.
Well, I think it's, thank you, first of all, for coming to introduce yourself to us, and I appreciate that you want to be part of the community and see ways that you can help, of course, the town of Elkton also. And some of the things that we're doing, we're building a community center. We need some help with that, I'm sure, along the way. And we also have a Chamber of Commerce and an Elkton Alliance that hosts many functions in the town of Elkton. In fact, I think in that community guide, I think there's, for some reason I'm thinking there's like 40 different events that we have in the town of Elkton every year that you can participate in. You can participate to get your message out about your church, or you can meet with kids or parents of all ages, but we'd love to have you participate in all those events.
Okay.
Love to have you. So when Mary Jo gets up and running again, we'll make sure that she gets in touch with you, and we can work as a team here a little bit.
Okay, very good. Giving you feedback on this, I think one of the things that I would like to build into our annual calendar is an honor of First Responders Day. Those kind of things. You think something like that would be well received, where we could have a special Sunday service, bring in first responders, town officials such as yourselves, and just honor those who serve.
Go ahead, Joe.
And you know, you met Reverend Brown, and Reverend Brown, who's been here about 6 years, when he first came here to Wright's Church, he had that first responders program up to Elkton High School, and it was well received, and he brought a lot of people from around the county up there. So, you know, that would be a good person to talk to about that.
Okay.
And we certainly would support you.
Yeah, I've met him, great guy.
Right.
You know, the county chamber actually does a first responder ceremony every year, and it would be kind of unique to be able to marry it together maybe with a service. Could be a good thing to do, and that's the county chamber that sponsors that. But I like where you're going, Charlie. It'd be a good event for the community, maybe at the school. Maybe we'll bring it up at the school.
Who's the contact person at the county?
The county, her name, it should be in there, and it is it Grady? It's the
We'll find it, no.
I'll have it for you.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for,
Nice to meet you.
And also, you know, the health department has been looking for buildings to have meetings, little, what do I want to say, workshops, fitness-based activities, and there's another group that's been very active called the 55 Plus. You know, they have gone to the county at different locations doing fitness exercises and things like that. I don't know if you know anybody from that or not. I'll get you that number and name, and that you have a contact with a person. I get a name right now. Might be Krista. I have it at home.
I know in May, we're hosting, maybe the same group, a screening for our senior citizens. Come in and have blood work, different health screening issues. We're
When
going
is
to be a
that?
host site for that.
When is that?
May 31st.
Are you already lining up, like vendors, or?
I just approve the use of the facility, so.
Oh, okay, you're not the one doing it.
Yeah, yeah. It's an outside organization
Okay.
with the town or the county, I believe.
Bonnie Grady is the director of the
Okay.
Cecil Commerce. Okay, any board have anything else to add today?
Just my space issue.
Oh, okay, ask it on. Well, listen,
I guess it hadn't been.
Gene has a great question, and we've talked about this a few different times, Lou. Has the department heads got together, or maybe you can get together tomorrow at the your Thursday meeting, and start to build that space planning for the next, so we can see what the space planning requirement for the town is over the next 5, maybe 10 years, if that's something you could put together for us.
Or if someone wants to
One of
spearhead.
the things they were talking about, Dan was talking about, it was a compost building.
Yes.
To see if we could utilize that in some manner, but I'm not sure if we can because of the treatment plant process. I'll follow up.
Very good.
Yes, thank you.
All right, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Because Gene and Charles can't be here.
We've got another meeting.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
What are you up to, Jeannie? We have a meeting tomorrow, so we can't get it scheduled. Air Lead. Meeting with Elkton. They were looking at the plans.
All right, I appreciate it, and have a good afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
We got a shot.
Sam, you have a presentation like this for waste management?
This
Oh,
one
yeah.
wants to come.
This one was
I know.
Mary.
Ideal.
Pardon me? Yeah, but I am, yes.